Hello everyone, welcome back to OpenScript. Today on the show we have Hardik Sharma, the founder and CEO of Adsys, a company that is revolutionizing the entire healthcare industry with cutting edge technology. He is an IIT Delhi graduate with a sheer passion for MedTech and all things hardware. Adsys has recently built a product called Adsys One, an AI powered device that can generate rapid CBC reports. The company has been backed by 100x VC and is aiming to disrupt the medtech industry. During this conversation, we talked about medtech, AI, healthcare, and many more interesting topics. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow for more and stay tuned for the next one. And without further ado, here is Hardik Sharma. Actually, I haven't done the podcast in around a month because as a new podcast, it takes time to gather people in the podcast, invite people. And after 5 episodes, it's a little difficult because everyone I message on LinkedIn, they ask for some social proof. And right now, I don't have much of social proof at this age. So it's a little difficult to invite people. So you being here actually means a lot.
Thank you.
All right, let's start with you first. Let's start with how you got into entrepreneurship and just all that stuff. So yeah, go ahead.
So, I am from IIT Delhi, and I think in a lot of engineering colleges, IIT Delhi stands apart because it has an entrepreneurial spirit as such. Like our previous director used to foster this spirit a lot. And in my third year, so we have an option of going for industrial training or going for a thesis project or something like that. Or you can just go on your own and find a BTech, like a professor and work on under his guidance.
Right,
So
right.
I was discussing what to do in my third year. I had not like taken part in the internship process that goes through ITD's formal process. And
Right, right.
back then, I kind of stumbled upon a different healthcare idea. And with my, I think, dad's encouragement, I started working on that. So entire third and fourth year went into that. Now, our
Okay.
college has a deferred placement policy wherein you can
Right, right.
defer your placement for up to 2 years, and you can rejoin your normal college process whenever you want. So due to that,
Right.
I opted for going for entrepreneurial side, and I wanted to try it out and see, okay, let's see if this works out or not. And right now, yeah, it is kind of working out. Still trying to figure it out. But yeah, that questioning for the first 2 years, 2022, 2020 and 2021 actually got a lot of back-ended support for to enable me to get there.
Right, right, right. Got it. So Adsys is your, you have this venture Adsys, and that's your first company, if I'm right, right?
Correct.
That's the first venture you've started, and you worked around 3 years in that venture. So just explain what Adsys is, what it does, and the journey of building Adsys from the start.
So we started in I think April 2020, and I already mentioned, the other healthcare idea we were working on that till March 2020. COVID struck, we all came home, and for a month I decided to try it out from home, but did not work out. So since we were already in the healthcare sector, this we sort of looked into CBC testing, the blood testing part we are into right now. And in the initial not six, but 4 to 5 months, a couple of my friends, we formed a WhatsApp group. We used to meet every couple of days, 3 days at 6 p.m. only. Used to discuss ideas, and I had converted my room into a small, electronic mechanical lab, and my bathroom into a biochemistry setup. So they would give me ideas on what to test. I would just prick my fingers, test it, and report back to them. And we would do this for 4 to 5 months, and then we decided that this is something we can work. And MVP, not MVP, but the proof of concept was there that this method can work, and then that's how we started. Registered formally in I think November 2021, and it was really, I cannot stress this enough, but very, very difficult to get funding for a hardware startup, and that too in healthcare,
Definitely, yeah.
because of
Like,
because of Theranos being number one reason, and second, it is
yeah.
a very long process because of the regulatory approvals, all the human element, market distribution side, all of that. So people generally shy away
Yeah,
from it.
yeah.
So
Right.
I had, I
And
think,
Axis is yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So a little point. I had a lot of investor mails written up in an Excel sheet, and I think almost all of it is red. Up until the point 100x
Mm-hmm.
decided to invest in us. And you can see
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
every day I would drop mail to 4 to 5 VCs, have a call, and then they would just say no and we move on. So that was really difficult.
Right. I guess this year the funding for VC has become more difficult. I think like a few days back, this Indus Valley report came and it said that India this year has the lowest funding for startups compared to the last few years. And I was talking to a few venture capitalists on the podcast itself, and I kind of what I feel like is um, there are a lot of startups being built this year and the last year, and most of them have are not fulfilling what they should be fulfilling for the community, for the public, and that's why
Mhm.
once they get a lot of funding, most of the founders they chill back and relax. Like a few days back, I don't remember the name of the person or the company's name, but they had a good amount of funding, and that person just like they just wasted all that funding on himself, buying a house, buying cars,
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So that trust factor has gone down compared to the last few years.
yeah, definitely. I think even I am forgetting the name of the guy, but InfoEdge actually looked into that startups. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
scams
yeah,
going on right now. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely correct because for the last 2 years, especially 2021 was an I think aberration in how startups got funded. Like every single one of them, especially
yeah.
SaaS and crypto, NFTs and all, they were getting funded
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
out of. Yeah.
And right now it's
But
AI,
I don't
the
think
one being funded the
yeah AI
most.
got generative AI is getting funded right now, but I don't think that
Yeah.
will like that will not continue in my opinion because like we also use ML and AI in our
Mm-hmm.
report generation part. But
Yeah.
the application part and the underlying process by which these GPTs work, the LLMs work, that's more important rather than just basing your entire startup on one aspect of the generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Got
a
it.
like,
Yeah,
blip again. Yeah.
that's true. And what is Adsys? Like, what do you do? What's the best you've built?
And the core concept of the company is first of all we wanted to have an R&D startup at the core because India does not have any company startup anything as such which is primarily research based and which does original
Mm-hmm.
work. Big like pharmaceutical companies, even if you take them, they are also into taking generic medicines and then passing off as their own after the patents expire. Like
Yeah.
there are small people, like small companies working on it, but the innovations that come out are outside India. Like yesterday only, day before yesterday, I think Vision Pro launched, and they have I
Yeah.
think more than 5,000 patents on that only.
Yeah. 5,000 patrons. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So so we want to like we have also applied for patents on our own tech, and we have developed everything from the ground up. And in the later, and what we want to do is control the entire primary healthcare chain, from the device to the
Yeah.
diagnosis to the report generation to the entire
Mm-hmm.
pathway.
Right.
And for
So.
that, yeah, so we are for that we are trying to assemble the team, which is at least some sort of masters. Like I don't have any masters in that, but
Mm-hmm.
I can at least see clearly where the research part comes from, and if the team is good enough, they will get
Yeah.
there irrespective of what the problems are.
Hmm. Got it. Got it.
That's access in a nutshell.
Right. So you're basically building a device that provides CBC reports, rapid CBC reports.
So right now, what happens is you go to a lab, or you go to a doctor. They will give you a 3 to 5 days antibacterial or antiviral course. And
Yeah.
when you go back to them because your condition has not improved, then they prescribe you a CBC test. Apart from other
Yeah.
tests that they bundle up.
Mm-hmm.
What we want to do is shift those 3 days of or 5 days of pain to the first point of contact with the doctor itself. You do the CBC then and there. You have your report in
Hmm.
within 10 minutes in your hand. All it takes is a fingerprint,
Wow.
and you don't need a syringe. You don't need a technician to do that. You don't need all the lab work. You just have your report. You go to the doctor again. Like you can entirely wait for a turn, have the CBC, and show the CBC to the doctor, and then you can have a more informed decision on what your health records are and what the situation right.
Hmm. So you provide these to hospitals or to all the people there?
So our plan is to first start with the hospitals that specialize in cancer care because chemotherapy requires a
Mm-hmm.
lot of CBC.
Yeah.
Later
Yeah.
on, we'll branch out to private hospitals, and the point is these devices should be kept in the first interaction with the doctor. So your outpatient
Mm-hmm.
departments, your general clinics, doctors who are running some sort of home practice, those kinds of people are where we want our
Mm-hmm.
device to be. And then there is the opportunity of rural markets because the current state of devices cannot be kept there. You can buy it, you can
Yeah.
keep it, but you won't be able to run it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an
Yeah.
entirely different market we have.
Right. And what was the inspiration behind starting Adsys?
Nothing as such. There is those little incidents that have happened. So you have seen traders. Everyone has seen traders, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
how Rancho carries like a screwdriver in his hand every time. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not carry a screwdriver always, but whenever something used to break down in our old home, so everyone used to tell me, okay, Jake, sahi kar this. And that I've been doing since I was 10, 11 years old. Now it's a running joke, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I started from that. Plus, I've been to like Ames Trauma Center because a friend of mine a lot. He's now an IFS officer,
Mm-hmm.
but he used to like every semester he used to break one of his legs or shoulders or something. And when you go to Ames Trauma Center, you can see people actively refusing treatments because they
Mm-hmm.
cannot either afford it or they will have to do a reconsultation because they have come from so far and these facilities are not available in their own backyard. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of pushed
Yeah.
me into healthcare, and then I stumbled upon CBC as such.
Right. And I feel like most of the hardware companies which make these devices, I think it starts from not an inspiration but from a random project. Like just see something on the web, you're like, I want to build this. You start with that, and then you start expanding. You just start making that better and better, and then one day it turns into a business idea. That's what I feel as of right now with hardware.
Yeah, that is like it can be good enough. Like you don't need to have some
Mm-hmm.
sort of a point in your journey. Okay, जिससे मेरे को चमका कि मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ. It can be a really slow
हाँ हाँ
process.
हाँ
It turns out,
वो तो
yeah,
है
if it
yeah.
turns out fine, then it's fine.
Yeah, and then again, I know hardware, building hardware is one of the like major challenges. Requires huge amounts of money also. Because I can imagine, I right now have a Raspberry Pi. I work on the Raspberry Pi. Buying items for projects, for Arduino, for Raspberry Pi, whatever it is very costly. It is costly.
Yeah.
So raising funds is a different thing altogether because चाहिए पैसे हार्डवेयर बनाने के लिए it can't be done using
हाँ.
from the fees you get वो नहीं हो सकता. So what are the stages you went through while building this entire machine? Like what was the first stage, the prototype, and then how did it go through, and then the challenges you faced while building this hardware?
So initially, what we did was like POC के लिए we used normal microscopes, normal chemicals, and all that were available in the market. And for the report
Mm-hmm.
generation part, we uh, like you have used you know what YOLO ML models are. It's a very standard
Yeah, I do.
CNN
Yeah.
model that they used to do the
Mm-hmm.
classification and all on the images. So we
Yeah.
bought it
Mm-hmm.
like there was some YouTube course. I studied that, turned it up, and just counted my cells on my own. That was the first
Mm-hmm.
POC. Then we bought a 3D printer and just
Mm-hmm.
iterated on the designs randomly. Like I do not have any like fundamental knowledge on the mechanical engineering side. So I used to just
Mm-hmm.
make the CAD versions, try it out and
Uh-huh.
see what's happening and what's not. But it
Yeah.
did not really work till April, I think, not April, August 2021, wherein
Mm-hmm.
we found ourselves in a very, I think, kind of a roadblock situation where our CAD versions were not really improving and the device was not also improving. And at that point, I was really close to going for the placements again. But then,
Yeah.
even I
Mm-hmm.
till date, I'm not aware of what happened and what changed. But one day, I suddenly realized, okay, we can do this, this, this. This will make it work, and this actually made it work. So we
Uh-huh.
registered the company then and Apoorv also joined. He's my co-founder and CTO.
Yeah.
And then he just kept on applying because joining like someone else joining the startup actually gives you confidence that okay, this person believes in my vision. He has left his
Mm-hmm.
job for what we are trying to do. And then
Yeah.
100x actually like we started finding interns at that point and paid out from
Mm-hmm.
our own pockets. We did not take any salaries, obviously. And
Right.
after
Right.
100x ka funding, we really started building on that. But that also took a long time because we did not know who to hire first, what classic like qualifications to look for, and
Mm-hmm.
Right now we are based out of Jaipur, and no one apart
Uh-huh.
from me is from Jaipur. Even Apur is from a town 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
from Jaipur. So we had to
Right.
like make the like provide accommodation for them for the initial years. Have to set up had to set up an office and all that. The non-tech part is where we struggle the most, and still we are struggling the
Mm-hmm.
most from that. But coming back to the product side, the version 3 we completed I think in December last year, which
Mm-hmm.
could do your basic count, and we displayed it on the 100x what do you say 100x pitch day on 21st
Yeah.
January. Like there was a
Right.
booth and all, and we showed that. But then we got the brilliant idea that okay, once we do a month or two of extra effort, we can make the device at least half the size of what it currently is. And maybe if we do this, we'll be able to make it the smallest GBC machine
Mm-hmm.
in the world, the most compact
Yeah.
machine in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I used to like you have seen like everyone has heard of Steve Jobs putting the iPod into this aquarium
Yeah,
and
in his
telling them okay
yeah,
it has
pocket.
bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to like like I still do outstretch my arm and tell them it should fit in my hand. And
Oh, okay.
actually, yeah, like my hands are I think pretty like fingers are pretty long and they actually managed to fit that. It's
Oh,
4 point
wow.
something kgs, so but it can fit in my hand. Like I can outstretch it and just lift it up. So they have managed to do it.
Wow. Right.
Yeah. That
Um,
that is the only motivation I
that's
give them.
awesome. No, that's a game changer because like right now the other CBC testing devices. So obviously one is Theranos, and I think you've posted it on LinkedIn also that the difference between Adsys and Theranos. So what is the major difference between Adsys, Theranos, and these devices, and then the normal CBC tests which these Lal Path Labs and these people do?
So like I'll compare it to the traditional machines first. They use a different
Mm-hmm.
technology to measure your blood cell counts. So CBC is mostly like as it says your complete blood count. So it measures your red blood cells, white blood cell, platelet, and hemoglobin, and then a lot of parameters based on those. So currently,
Mm-hmm.
what they do is there's a small channel built into the device. It's a completely microfluidics application. You pass one cell at
Mm-hmm.
a time at a very fast pace, and you measure
Okay.
the change in, let's say, resistance or some scattering of laser or some sort of impedance, but you do a secondary
Mm-hmm.
measurement, and that's how
Okay.
almost all the current devices works. A couple of our competitors, they do image analysis like we do, and
Mm-hmm.
those are Israel based. No one is doing in India right now that
Yeah,
we know of.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Theranos, what their claim was the sample size was very small. Like you
Mm-hmm.
could see the Elizabeth Holmes poster with this small nanotail kind of
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And they wanted to do at least 200 tests from that, and
Mm-hmm.
that is not physically possible because once you like run your blood sample through one process, it get diluted, and you won't have enough data
Yeah.
points to generate the report, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
they got sidetracked. It was a good idea,
Hmm.
but too ambitious, and they like falsified the records and all that. So that's a different
Yeah,
story.
yeah, 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 the scam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. So like one, like there are a few in Israel. There's one in Philadelphia. If I saw, I think it was on Crunchbase itself. A few in Philadelphia, a few in Israel, and then you
Mhm.
have the only one in India, which you are making right now.
We know of a couple startups also, but like the issue with hardware startups and medical device startups specifically is that there's a stark difference between your product that you developed for developed as a solution to a problem and the product that you
Mm-hmm.
developed that can be scaled up.
Hmm. Yeah.
And these two companies, I don't know how to name them, but they like their product, which you can see from LinkedIn and from their website, is that it will be extremely difficult to scale up, and even if they manage to do it, it will be very expensive for them.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
And the first, like in the back of the mind, from the first day we started, the idea was it should reach the masses because if you develop a like really good solution and people don't really use it, it's not of much use.
Got it. So the only difference between, like the major difference between you and and those labs in hospitals are, you are providing the same thing at a much faster pace. So it's faster and it's cheaper. So it's basically economically feasible to everyone in the hospital.
The it's not cheaper as such, but it is the idea is you are providing the test to people who would not be able to have access to it otherwise. The accessibility
Right.
part and the portability part is where you are working.
Got it. Yeah. And you know on your website, which launched a few days back, if I'm right. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and actually I'm lucky to see the website before the podcast because that helped a lot to prepare for the podcast. So
Actually,
so that was
I
a
put out a LinkedIn
lifesaver.
post today
Yeah,
only.
yeah, I saw that. Saw that one. Yeah. So you have stated that you use machine learning, AI, and deep learning to for this device. So what do you do with those?
So once you have like the idea is you put the sample, diluted sample mixed with chemicals on the proprietary slide that goes into the
Mm-hmm.
device, and you take hundreds of images of the sample. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
reason we have been able to make the most compact device is because the entire optical train has been developed by us. Like
Mm-hmm.
having a people generally what they do is they take solutions from the market, what's available out there, and just put it into the device. And like we have made it a priority to do it entirely in-house. So that's why we were able to make it so small. And once you take the hundreds of images, you generate data points on it and push it to AWS and do some pre-processing on the device itself. And once you do that, there are multiple machine learning models that classify different types of cells, take out different morphologies of cells, and basically give you the count. And there's a lot of analysis going on the back end.
So now again, it's difficult to actually get hardware, to raise funds for hardware devices and to get money for that. So and you raised money a few months back, like in December. So how were you able to, July? Okay,
July, actually.
July. So before that, how were you managing the funds and everything? And so yeah, let's do that first. How were you managing funds before the funding round?
So before that, the entirety of like these the funds actually came from my dad. So that
Mm-hmm.
was the main source of funds for us, and we did not like have any team as such in place. So the
Right. Yeah.
interns we got actually mostly for free and used to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever we could. But once we got the term sheet back in May, we were confident that okay, now we can do the hiring. So after getting the funds in
Right.
the account, that's where we really took off.
Okay.
And
Got it.
it was like I think 100x actually saw what we are like we would be able to achieve once we get the funds and once it goes through. And I don't think it's credited enough on their part because it takes a
Right.
lot of conviction to give so much money to people who have not really uh, worked on startup before or just fresh out of college with completely moonshot idea.
Right. Yeah. So this 100x funding was pre-seed.
Yeah, PC.
Pre-seed. Got it. Yeah.
So
So
we're
again, yeah,
working
it,
on
it does
the
require
seed
trust.
round
Trust.
later on.
Yeah. It requires
Like
trust and
I still
for the
remember
investors.
we had a call with them, and 15 minutes into the call, I think Sanjay just told us, "Okay, come to Mumbai and we'll interview." And the next week we
Okay.
were in Bombay. I had not traveled to Bombay in my life, so 20 hours of train travel one way.
Uh-huh.
We got to their place, and I think we pitched for an hour or so, something around that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the C's there, Lippy, she is my very good friend now.
Right.
So she just told us, okay, this is the P&L sheet, this is the cash flow statement. You have to project it, you have to do this and this and this. And I've not seen an Excel sheet that long in my life. So I just sat there for I think 2 3 hours just with their help. There are a lot of associates there. So with
Mm-hmm.
their help, we filled out projections and tried to convince them. We were still not sure if it if we'll get it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave us a term sheet. I called another one of my loyal friends up, and she told me, okay, do this, take it on that. Okay, I was like, okay, she has given the go, and I called my dad. Should I take it or not? Okay, he said, okay, do it. We'll see later on how much the valuation says, whatever it is. But someone is trusting you right now, and you can just take it.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
was the entire process. We just signed it then and there.
That's great. That's great. Um, so like you told you are so right now your major clients once you launch this product in next year. So the first clients will
Mhm.
be the hospitals and cancer specific, right?
Yeah, initially those and so what happens in chemotherapy is you have specific daycare centers, and people don't really have access
Mm-hmm.
to instant CBC reports then and there. And
Right.
we want to completely eliminate that wait period.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had talks a lot of daycare centers, and they're definitely interested in that. So chemotherapy, daycare centers, hospitals, oncology centers, and all that are the first priority. At least Jaipur and Rajasthan initially, and then we'll expand out.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Got it. So how do you plan to market this product? Like, what's your strategy?
Initially, like right now, we have been getting inbound calls from hospitals only.
Okay.
Like we have not even told anyone that what we're building right now.
Uh-huh.
But the it will be the traditional sense in how your machines, traditional machines are sold. We'll have sales agents, we'll do B2B initially. We'll have to go to each one of them, trying to convince them. We'll have to leverage our network. So
Mm-hmm.
one of my seniors from IIT Delhi itself, I got in touch with him with via an investment call. Of course, he decided
Okay.
not to invest in that because they don't do, I think, sub 5-10 million rounds. So we are not
Mm-hmm.
even close there right now. But
Right. Right.
due to being from the same college, and he is very interested right now, so he and a lot of other people have introduced us to people who are working in the cancer care space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very major like benefit of being from IT Delhi or any other IT. The network part is very strong, and
Right.
that's
Right.
how we
Right.
decide to at least once we have the demo out, hopefully next month, then we'll just go to place and just demo and see what happens.
Right. So right now, I think
Yeah,
something on the radar will be the pricing of the product. Pricing it, and
definitely.
then comes back to repairing costs and everything. So like, what are your like, what do you think about the repairing costs of your product? Like, how many checks will it take once a product gets damaged in the hospital?
So actually, it's very you should ask this question today. So in our office, what we have is a device like one copy of the machine that has been running from I think 4 to 5 months continuously. So we do
Right.
all our data set generation on that machine, and that actually broke down due to wear and tear today. And now the like I came home for this podcast, but they are actually measuring how much cycles it has went through, so that they can at least determine where the failure point is.
Hmm. Okay.
And actually, in the life cycle of the product, you have certain parts that are going to fail earlier, certain parts that are not supposed to fail in the entire 3 to 4 years of life cycle that we are predicting. So based on where the part is supposed to fail, they are making assembly instructions. Okay, this will fail first, so this has to be easier to remove and repair.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm,
And
hmm.
that's how
Got
they
it.
are making different parts of it.
So 4 to 5 months. So I can imagine how much blood you have given yourself to test the product again and
No, no,
again.
no. So we have kind of stopped doing that because we partner with a couple of hospitals in Jaipur.
Okay.
So we get the blood samples and report from there. But earlier we used to do like there was a period when we had to come to Bombay. Like Apoorv and I had to do the master class session for of 100x.
Mm-hmm.
And before leaving, I had to sign a sheet saying that okay, this day this person's blood will be used. This day this person's blood will be used because no one wants to give their blood willingly.
Yeah,
So once
that's
I'm in the
right.
office, they are relatively fine. But if I'm not, right now they have all gotten used to it.
Got it. Um, so again, with startups, the most important part I think is the building of the team. So right now you have your own CTO, Apoorv Agarwal, and you have, I think, you have a good number of employees right now. So what was the process
Correct.
of hiring people? What were you looking into people when once you were hiring them, and how do you build this great team for startup?
So like majority of the people, if not majority, a healthy number of them have been working as interns and then converted into full time.
Okay.
And this was not by design as such, but we are very fortunate in that we had to like we have had the opportunity to observe them working as interns and then see how well they assimilate into the team.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been the major forte of going through the interview process, wherein we just give them a problem to solve. And I remember that the Sonal was our first hire, like full-time hire in office. So for that, like he does the entire, like he did used to do the entire robotics part of that. Now we
Mm-hmm.
have multiple people to do that. But I gave him what do you say, assignment on Intershala. You can give an assignment for them to solve,
Right.
and that assignment actually was IIT Delhi's CAD exam, like for the final exam.
Okay.
Like that question was asked in that, and I got to know that okay, this question is wrong actually,
Okay.
and still I gave them to whoever I thought was good enough for interview. Okay, let's give them and let's see if they are able to figure it out. So I think
Right.
Sonal was the only one who was able to figure it out, and he designed a solution that okay, this is not supposed to be here, and this is what it should be. And I
Hmm.
saw his CV, saw like okay, this guy knows his shit,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we hired him, and then it slowly built up from that. So
Hmm.
that's how it started. Uh, Ali, we hired last year. Sorry, this year February. We are
Mm-hmm.
looking for a simulations engineer to do all your life
Right.
cycles part and all your simulations.
Mm-hmm.
I just randomly started looking for people on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a section on the right side of your feed where you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see people who are looking for work.
Right, right, right.
So I
Yeah.
think around half an hour looking randomly without any clue, I just found one guy looking for work. He was based in Dubai. I just sent him a message randomly. Okay, do you want to work with us? And give a basic idea of what we are doing. And he said, okay, I'm interested.
Uh-huh.
And then he left his job in Dubai and came here.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's yeah. And I think for the data science part, we hired actually Apu's college roommate.
Okay.
So he's heading our data science department right now. So before he joined, I was not really like I could not comprehend why it is taking so long for the models to get to that accuracy and to get to that inference speed. But once
Mm-hmm.
he came, he showed me, okay, this you have to do,
Hmm.
and that's what subject matter experts do too. Like
Yeah.
they know what is exactly wrong, and then they show you.
Right. Got it.
So I've
Got
been
it.
very fortunate in that.
So the major criteria is skills. If you know your stuff,
Definitely,
then you're good to go to work somewhere. Yeah.
yeah.
Got it. So now, so you are from IIT Delhi and you have majored in engineering physics from IIT Delhi.
Correct.
So how did you learn entrepreneurship? That is my question. Because
Uh,
from physics to entrepreneurship, learning business, the terms, how was that journey?
that like I'm still on that journey. We're still learning how to like today itself was the first interaction I had with a big hospital owner.
Mm-hmm.
Like he told me things I would never have like never would have learned sitting in my room or searching on online.
Right, right.
So that's been an eye-opening thing. But coming back to the question, I think I really did not like they always try to tell you like teach you things with courses. They have an entrepreneurship like modules entirely built around that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a like they have a DMS department of management studies.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do their courses. I did also did a course in entrepreneurship there, but that does not really teach you much. And
Right,
once
right.
you go out there and figure out, then only you can, I think, it's then only you can see the intricacies of what entrepreneurship is about. Like we have not really learned how to sell, how to
Mm-hmm.
do the customer relations, but the tech development
Right,
part,
right.
the product development part, we have learned over the
Uh-huh.
course of.
Got it.
But the course part did actually teach me a lot of like product specific things like optics, your basic physics, your electronics, and all. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really helpful. I did not think that would
Yeah.
come handy, but that did.
No, that's awesome. And so um, so I think the term which we use to specify healthcare devices is MedTech, right? So what do you think of the current status of the healthcare system of India right now? What do you think is what do you think it lacks right now?
I think two main things they have to, cater to take your healthcare standards up to your Western world levels.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, you need to improve access to healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
people, like I have, like we were of the opinion that we will sell our devices to tier three areas, and people will come to us because this is an obvious solution that okay, you need tests, we are giving you tests
Mm-hmm.
and they will come to us. But what we found out after talking to a lot of NGOs who work in that space is that people will not come because that will mean they are losing their day wages.
Yeah.
So you have to find some way to compensate them for that, or you won't be able to like forget about selling. You won't be able to give free tests also because they are
Yeah.
losing out on
That's
money
right.
if they are coming to you. So that's I think government is also working pretty well in that sense, but it will take a long
Mm-hmm.
time and it's not a short-term solution. And second
Right.
is the digitization of your health records and all. It will take a long time, EBDM and all, but they are working on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of innovation is needed from the like entrepreneurs side also because SaaS and AI and your crypto NFTs they are all fine and well, but it does not really do well for people at all.
Yeah.
AI may be
Mm-hmm.
like generative AI may be useful in like we are also looking into that later on using telemedicine since our devices is connected to the internet. So we
Mm-hmm.
will be able to do telemedicine later on,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where I think current trends might help.
No, definitely. Actually, I think like if we could use NFT and blockchain in some manner to digitalize health records and these things, that would help a lot. Like right now, the major thing is कि people lose their reports a lot. If we can put them on the blockchain and if we can NFT them, those records, that would be a game changer. But then again, these terms are like they are used with crypto a lot, and people think of crypto as a scam here in India. So that's why they don't really opt for it. I think that's an issue that
They have
needs to be
been
solved.
scammed a lot, so it's
A
not their
lot,
fault. But yeah,
yeah.
the digitization part is, I think, really going on right now. And I was working, like, talking to another fellow entrepreneur, I think, a couple of days back. They are working on digitizing your health records with governments.
Okay.
Like, they are generating APIs for what the government has provided,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually taking the load of your developer to
Mm-hmm.
integrate the APIs in your solution. So that will, I think,
Mm.
happen in a couple of years. So without crypto, they will definitely do it. And we'll also
Yeah, yeah.
integrate that in our solutions.
No,
Yeah, that
actually,
is
and you were also right about your the gaps in the healthcare. I think right now 30% of Indians do not have healthcare protection right now. 30% of Indians as of right now.
I think it might be more than that. Definitely more than
Yeah, I think
30%. I
yeah,
think.
that
Uh,
report was around 5 years back. I guess that was the only report I could find right now. Right, it's definitely more. Majority of them are the ones. I think it's maybe it's awareness, but I don't think it is awareness. It's accessibility. Because everyone knows that you need to buy a healthcare plan, but then they don't know from where, they don't know how costly it is, and those things. I think that's the biggest issue.
yeah, like awareness and accessibility and like prioritizing buying healthcare over other needs is also still there in India. Like 60% or 70% of India still lives in rural
Yeah,
regions and they don't really prioritize buying like a Bima plan.
it can definitely be more accessible right now. Like in the US, the cost of calling an ambulance is around $2,500, and that is very costly. Like I don't know if we call ambulance here for like 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, and that's it. That's all it takes
Yeah,
to
like
call an ambulance.
I've heard I've heard people like when people are on deathbeds they divorce their significant others so that the health bills just die with the person and not come onto the family.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very sad way to look at things, but yeah, that's what happened.
Definitely. Um. What do you think of medtech? The future of medtech. What do you think? The What do you think of the innovation that's going to happen in this area?
One thing I can definitely look into is connected healthcare
Yeah.
and running analysis on reports that were previously not possible. Like
Hmm.
Shouryaa is one of the biggest players I can think of right now, and they do I think analysis on CT scans and TB reports, X-rays and all
Hmm.
that. But with the advancement in I think like ML models that can run inferences on your small devices like your phone, even in your like Raspberry Pi, for example, and we are trying to do that. That will definitely at least work on the solution that enough doctors are not there, enough technicians are not there. So you have some sort of indication of your health, and the connected records also fill back into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also our aim, and I think I also like put out a LinkedIn post on it that the connected healthcare companies are going to be the big companies later on.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, and what's your vision of Adsys? Like the next 5 years, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, and what other domains of healthcare do you plan to enter?
So two things that we definitely will do is like what we are doing right now comes strongly into microfluidics and your
Mm-hmm.
like very precise microscopy and robotics. Like our devices
Yeah.
internally can move to locations that are on the order of wavelengths of light. Like that precise movements we
Hmm.
can control with our devices, and that has immense possibilities in making other medtech devices, diagnosis devices for first, and second,
Mm-hmm.
your prosthetics and all. So that's what we
Okay.
might
Yeah.
look into. And like I told you earlier, I was also working on another healthcare solution prior to starting Access, and that's like the research part of it is complete. It's
Mm-hmm.
a glucometer wherein you just use a breath to measure out glucose. You don't
Oh
need to prick
wow.
on it. Yeah,
Okay.
so we did all like my bachelor thesis was on it. My third year, like half third year, my entire fourth year was on it. So we
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to do that because it's a B2C product. B2C product actually sells really well, and diabetes is on the rise.
Yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
if we manage to break it, that will be another great product. So these two areas we want to go into.
Right, because I think one thing I also imagine you guys will enter in the next few years, like you told robotics. So
Hmm.
right now, I think in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, maybe we will have more robotic machines for surgeries also, for surgeries, for testing, and we will have a lot of nanotech for medical itself. So
Correct.
this entire domain of medicine, of medtech, it is extremely vast. It is extremely vast. What it right now lacks is proper funding, which I can say is there. Because
No,
even on Shark Tank, you can
proper.
see a lot of pitches that are on Shark Tank are in the medical area itself.
Mhm.
So they
But
want money.
even if you no, if you even if you get the funding, like we have, like we had, we are still working on our seed round. So obviously we have a lack of funds. But even if you have funds, there are not enough manufacturers to support what you want.
Yeah.
So we could
Hmm.
like since our like I told you, our machines are very like the features are very precisely controlled. You need to have repetitions over every single machine that you produce. So we could not
Hmm.
find enough manufacturers to fall back on if our current one
Hmm.
defaults on the time period. And I'll give an example. Last Monday, we were told that okay, this part of the device will arrive on Thursday. And on Friday, when we inquired them where is the part, they told us that it will come next Friday. And we can't do anything. We have already made the payment. We
Right.
have to sit and wait because there's no alternative. And the alternative is to go to Germany and get it manufactured.
Oh yeah. Hmm. That's right. That's
So
the
that's
thing.
a manufacturing part, and we like seriously were discussing and are discussing in the like couple of years later on, we will set up our own manufacturing unit because we have seen how difficult it is to get parts in time.
Yeah, no, definitely. But then, you know what? Actually, what I feel like, I think this is the engineer talking inside of me right now, the aspiring engineer. When I think of the word innovation, I tend to relate more to the hardware part of innovation than the software part. I just feel like real innovation is into hardware. You know, literally build stuff. Because I think I've seen so many applications at such an early age, apps and apps and apps and apps, that I've grown tired of apps. I've grown tired of apps. Like I think of innovation, I feel like hardware has a lot of space for innovation, a lot of space for innovation. Like you can literally, like AI can literally build applications for you these days, application websites. You don't need much of
Yeah, but
people for applications.
no, that says there. Like, are you planning to pursue in CS or something? Like, what's your
I'll be doing computer engineering in the future in college. Yeah.
yeah? So like I was in your like on a similar like mindset at least 6 months or 10 months back at
Okay.
max. But what I've seen is there's a lot of maths that goes into developing these AI models, these ML
Yeah,
models,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and the
yeah,
theoretical background is extremely lucrative if you like decide to go down that rabbit hole. And
yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like if I don't really do much of coding. First of all, because I'm very bad at it, and like not objectively bad, but yeah, compared to what Apur can do and what the others can do. But given let's say you have two sets of images, then they are completely identical to each other, apart from the like very small distinctions. You give me one day to, let's say, find out what you can do with these images. Let's say one image of your blood cells, what you can do
Yeah.
with that, and you give that to people, our data science team, and you can see the number of data points they will take out of that. But analysis they can do of that, and the ways they can think of uh, information coming out of that is definitely what a robotics team cannot think of, and goes vice versa, because
Yeah.
each one knows their field. And yeah, but I learned to appreciate both of them with time.
No, definitely. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Last question. Any advice you would give to engineers, aspiring entrepreneurs who want to enter the medtech space, or just want to become tech entrepreneurs?
Specifically for MedTech, it's going to be very, very difficult. But the good point is it will always be difficult. So,
Yeah.
and we are facing it right now. When the funds were there, it was not easy for us. And when the funds are not here right now, it's not that difficult for us. Like it's a very stable line we have.
Oh, right.
Because people will in healthcare, like people who know that healthcare is going to be there, they will invest in it. And the issue is there are very few of them. So the mood does not really change.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's it. But
Got
yeah,
it.
I would suggest people at least try it if your like current financial situation, your family situation, and your like if you are open to it, you should try it out at least. Or if
Yeah.
you do not want to start your own, then join an early stage startup. It gives you a lot of what do you say, insights into how things work, which you would not encounter in your job.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. I agree with that. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. I had an amazing time, amazing conversation. And I will do one more in a few years once I will see, Adsys becoming, much bigger. We'll do one more conversation and then we'll think of the next 5 years of Adsys.
Sounds
Hopefully.
good. I'm in.
If you've reached this point, thank you so much for tuning in. If you love this episode, don't forget to go follow and rate the podcast. I am your host Shouryaa Sharma, and I will see you again very soon. Out.